Hello everyone, and welcome to the doTERRA U podcast. I'm Ludo, Product Education Manager for Europe, and joining me today is Dr. Brannick Riggs, Vice President for Essential Oil Education at doTERRA Corporate. Together, we'll be discussing all things supplements, so let's get started. Brannick, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's really great to have you.
Thank you for the invitation, Ludo. I'm excited to be here and have this great discussion.
So obviously we know the world of supplements is vast and can feel a little bit intimidating, daunting, and people listening to us and watching us might be a bit confused. So I wanted to discuss with you, where would a great starting point be for anybody approaching this very overwhelming word for the first time?
Yeah. It's interesting. There's lots of ways that you might approach this, and especially to kind of cut through the noise of supplementation. You have the challenge of everywhere you turn. You can go to a gas station and buy supplements. You can go to the grocery store and buy supplements. And you can do the same with essential oils, right? You can go buy your pure frankincense for just a little bit of money, and it's not pure. And as a matter of fact, it's probably not even any frankincense. The same is true of supplements. You can go by the gas station or the grocery store and buy your supplements for a very cheap amount, but they're probably not going to have very much of that actual supplement in it. So one thing you have to really look for is, where is a good source to buy your supplements? And how do you really tell whether or not it is a good supplement or not? And one of the ways that you can cut through the noise of that is, when you take a supplement, you should actually feel different, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give our body some of those essential cofactors. Our cells need them to function properly, and you should feel that. And so if you're taking a supplement and you're like, well, I've never really felt any different, then perhaps it's not a very good supplement. The other thing is true is that typically quality things do cost a little bit more. And so being aware that if you go buy your supplements and you can buy a 30-day supply for just a tiny amount of money, it's probably not a great supplement. And therefore, it's not really going to be benefiting you at all. So kind of a couple of ways that you might be able to determine whether or not you have a good quality supplement, and to cut through some of the noise there. And then also, you've got to go with a company that you trust, right? We know that here at doTERRA, we have CPTG oils. They go through rigorous testing to just determine, is this a good oil, and are we willing to put our name to the oil? We get lots of batches of oils that we say, no, thank you. That's not really the quality we're looking for. The same is true of our supplements. We actually go through rigorous testing of our supplements to make sure that they are the quality that we can stand behind, and we can put our name, doTERRA, on those supplements.
That's amazing. Thank you, Brannick. And actually, if I can take a step back, sometimes we hear, that healthy eating is enough and that exercising is good enough to be considered healthy and have a perfectly beautiful, long life. But actually, we know in the world of supplements that might not be the case. So when is a good moment when we should consider adding supplements to our routine? And maybe can you address why is healthy eating no longer enough technically in these modern times?
It's a great question there, Ludo. And I think really we have to first recognize one thing. So we're talking about healthy lifestyles and routines, and do we need supplements? But let me take it even a step back. And that is, well, it's okay if I don't eat healthy. It's okay if I don't have a healthy lifestyle. I just take supplements. It's fine. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't out-supplement an unhealthy diet. You can't out-supplement an unhealthy lifestyle. There is no such thing as sitting on the couch, eating ice cream every day, and I'm not going to be unhealthy because I take supplements
It
every
will be
day.
too easy, right?
We actually have to. Right, correct. I mean, if that were the case, I wouldn't have to go for a mile run every morning. I could just take the mile run pill and get the same benefits to my muscle and heart and body, right? My metabolism. But that just doesn't exist. We have to pair supplementation with doing the best we can in the foods that we consume and the lifestyle that we live. We can't just take supplements and make up for that. So your second point there, though, is that, well, can I not take supplements and just live a healthy lifestyle? Well, a couple of interesting things have happened in the last several years. We've looked at data on the essential vitamins and minerals that we get from our food. Essential meaning we have to have them to survive, right? They're not like would be nice to have. These are, we have to have these things. Think about iron for our blood, right? So we looked at that nutrient content in the foods that we consume. What we have found, they did a study from 1950 to 1999, so that's 49 years, and they found that those essential nutrients fell anywhere from 6 to 38% in just those 49 years. And we've now had another 25 years since that study was completed for that nutrient content to continue to fall. Now, we don't know what it was before 1950, but what we do know is the fruits and vegetables we were consuming, even organically grown, right? Even grown in our own gardens, those fruits and vegetables that our grandparents were eating, we have to eat several times that amount to get the same nutrient content that our grandparents did in one apple or one orange. Now we're having to consume much larger amounts. The other thing that's true is our diet has become calorically dense, so lots of calories in our diet, and nutrient deficient. And so we have to be taking some supplements every day to be able to help with the nutrients that we're just not getting from our diets anymore. And that's kind of a sad fact, but we're to that point in modern society where we have to do that.
And can I just maybe expand on your last point that you said, because I find it extremely fascinating. The fact that we, obviously the soil is depleted and we consume maybe too much calories compared to, our vitamin, minerals, and what our body is able to absorb, really. Could this also be a reason why we sometimes feel this hunger that we cannot satisfy? Is it because we are lacking vitamins?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there was a study done about 3 years ago on fast food. Now, we all have a hectic lifestyle. It's very fast paced. And so sometimes we just think, oh, it's fine. I'll just grab some fast food. Well, the study was done to say, well, why is it that fast food doesn't satisfy us as much as other foods do? If I were to go grab a couple of apples, I may be fuller or have satiety better than if I grab a hamburger and fries, right? And the reason is because the brain picks up on how many nutrients we're consuming in the food. And if we're not having enough nutrients in the food, the brain sends a signal that we need more nutrients. Not that we're hungry, but we need more nutrients. And so we're more likely to consume more highly processed foods than we are other types of foods. And so to your point, we do have to just be very careful of those nutrient deficient foods because they can make us eat more of them, therefore more calories, and that contributes to our obesity problem that we're having literally around the world.
That's amazing. And as I said, it's incredibly fascinating for me to be able to educate myself better every day and then hopefully go on and make healthier choices in what I decide to eat and what I decide to nourish my body with. So yeah, thank you.
I think that's a good point, Ludo. We're all on a journey, right? And we all started somewhere. So I tend to, within my practice as a physician, I tend to not really condemn anyone walking through the doors. The fact that they're approaching me tells me I'm interested in my health. So wherever they are, let's say they're eating fast food 3 meals a day. Okay, we're not going to change that person to be eating all, fruits and vegetables 3 meals a day, organically grown, et cetera, and be taking all of their supplements every day. We have to celebrate the journey of where they are. We should be doing the same. We should say, okay, let me take a real assessment of where I am on my health journey, and then I'm going to try to do a little bit better each day, right? Maya Angelou once said, once we know better, we do better. And that's true for all of us.
I like that. I really like that. So I think at the beginning you said something about the word supplement and what it means, as in adding something to our diet, enhancing our diet. So, yeah, how can we incorporate supplements maybe gradually for somebody who is a starter, let's say, is getting started with this word,
Yeah.
somebody who is a good user, and then somebody who is a pro?
Yeah. So I think for someone that's just beginning this journey, and you're right, supplement means to complete or enhance, right? So if I have this healthy lifestyle, I'm trying to do better at the things I'm consuming, I'm trying to do better with my exercise and my metabolism and those sorts of things. Now to supplement means I'm just going to add a little bit more to that and make it even better, right? Um, and so for those that are just beginning this, I'm a fan of number one, assess your diet. Make changes that you know you need to make. Nobody really needs to be told, oh my gosh, eating ice cream every day is bad for you, right? No, everybody
We
knows
know.
these things, right? Now it's a yeah, it's a wonderful little treat every once in a while. But if people know the things that
Mhm.
are their weak spot, and so assess where you are with your diet, assess where you are with your movement, right? And then make those changes and add to that your vitamins and mineral supplements, right? So for us, it would be our lifelong vitality, our microplex VMZ, our alpha CRS, and our XE omegas. Those things are helpful to supplement. And I'm a fan of starting low
Mhm.
and then moving up to that full dose. So I'm a fan of just do one a day of each and do that for a few weeks. Make sure the system gets used to this. Make sure that we're doing okay with this. If we're experiencing a little bit of GI upset when we first start, that's okay. Push on and then let's wait until that goes away because it will go away. And so once you've done that to once a day and your system's used to it, now you want to go to twice a day, morning and evening, with your dosing of one each, and do that for a few weeks. And building up to that full dose, which is 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening or afternoon, so that then you're taking 4 a day of your VMZ, your XE omegas, and your alpha CRS. So morning and evening, 2 each every day. For those that are kind of pros, their lifestyle's really clean, they've been on this journey for a while,
Yeah.
they've been doing great. I have no problem with them just starting right off the bat with 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening of each of those. And they typically do pretty well with that because their system is already used to a clean lifestyle. It's already used to
Mhm.
exercising every day.
Yeah.
It's already used to having those nutrients in the foods that they're consuming. They're not switching from 3 times a day of fast food to now all of a sudden eating more fruits and vegetables. This individual is already eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. Their system knows those nutrients fairly well. And so putting those individuals straight on the 4 a day of each isn't a problem.
Brannick, can we talk a little bit about supplement quality and why it matters so much? Obviously, we both know this word is vast, it's huge actually, and
Yeah.
every company now seems like they're starting to produce supplements, which is a bit scary. So not all supplements are created equals. Yeah, what do you think about that?
No. Yeah, so that's true. We mentioned earlier the fact that, typically if you're buying a very, very cheap supplement, it is not very good. Unfortunately, in the supplement world, typically you get what you pay for. And so if you're buying something that's very inexpensive and you think, oh my gosh, I got a great deal, this is only costing me, a little bit every
Mhm.
month. Well, you're probably only getting a little bit of benefit from that every month. And so knowing that a good supplement, a good quality supplement, if it's really going to help you, is going to cost just a little bit more because of the fact that they have to bring some quality, something that's very good for you. Now, one of the things that sets our supplements apart is the fact that we actually have a couple of things that are unique to doTERRA in the supplement world. So for instance, I'll give you the example of our tummy tamer
Mhm.
blend that is in our microplex VMZ. Typically the GI tract doesn't really enjoy vitamins and minerals, and we'll talk a little bit about the uniqueness of our supplements here in a minute, but because of that, we put our tummy tamer blend in of essential oils that consist of caraway and peppermint and some others that help the GI tract calm down while we're taking these vitamins and mineral supplements and help them handle it a little bit better. And then we also do some things that increase absorption of the vitamins and minerals. You can go to some stores, and they do cost a bit of money to buy some mega doses of vitamins and minerals, huge amounts, right? And the challenge there is an absorptive capacity within the GI tract. There's only so much that the GI tract can absorb, and the rest of the time, those extras are just moving right on through you. And so knowing that those mega doses don't really help, you need the right amount, and you need to be able to absorb the right amount. And that's what our doTERRA LLV does for you. It helps you with that absorption of the correct amount of vitamins and minerals and those nutrients that are in there.
I love that you're talking about absorption, because often we hear the phrase, you are what you eat. But really, that phrase could be expanded to, you are what you absorb, because not everything that you ingest, we in our body is able to absorb. So thank you for touching on that.
Yeah. I've often put it, you aren't what you eat, because we eat lots of things that we don't incorporate into the body, but you are what you digest. And digestion is that key, or ingestion, right? But absorption is the key there. And so you have to digest the things. We can put lots of stuff in us, but if it never gets digested, put into our system, it doesn't really matter for us.
And I also find it really fascinating what you said about those mega doses, because let's face it, if somebody is approaching this word for the first time, or they're just getting started, they might pick up a supplement, look at the ingredient list, or look at the dosage, look at the quantity, and say, oh, this one has a higher amount of vitamin C, so I'll just go for the maximum dose that I can obtain. But then you mentioned it beautifully, if my body is not able to absorb it properly, then is it useful?
Yeah. Right. Then it doesn't matter. Yep. Yeah. And I know, people will say, well, how can I tell? One of the ways to tell is when you are taking a supplement that your body can't use, those mega doses, typically you can tell in your voiding, when you're urinating, if it is bright yellow and remains bright yellow throughout the day, it either means your system is getting rid of all of that things that your cells can absorb, or you're very dehydrated. Either one, you should do something about both. You should drink more fluid, and you should find a better supplement so that then you know that it's being absorbed and the cells are utilizing this. We talked earlier about the fact that really vitamins and minerals are cell cofactors. They're things that the cells require to do their job optimally. So we're not artificially making cells do things they wouldn't ordinarily do. Really what we're doing is saying, can we provide you all the things you need to do your job the right way? And when cells work well, organs work well. And when organs work well, systems work well. And when systems are doing well, we are well. So it really starts at that cellular foundation of providing those cells all those micronutrients and cofactors that they need to do their job. So it's kind of this beautiful way of saying, I'm here supplementing to support you, cell. If you'll just do the job you were created to do, then great. Now, all of a sudden, I reap those benefits of just helping you by doing this thing for you every day.
Yeah. And all of this talking about foundation and foundational make me think about our wellness chart and the way we structured it in a very clever way. And obviously, we have nutrition and digestion at the base, at the bottom of the wellness chart. So I would like to talk a little bit about that and how we combined and how we kind of placed categories of supplements in each step of the wellness chart. So could you explain how to navigate that wellness chart for us, please?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for that. I really think, like you said, it's so wise that we started with this foundation of nutrition and digestion. What I have found in my own career as a physician is that when I start addressing things higher on the wellness chart, let's say, for instance, someone's having some challenges with sleep, and I say, we have some natural things that are perfect for sleep. Let me help you with lavender. Let me help you with serenity. Let me help you with some things that'll support a good night's sleep. If I haven't found out that their diet is really bad and they're eating at 11:30 at night right before they go to sleep, and their lifestyle's not great by staying up and watching TV right before they go to bed and all of those things, I haven't really gotten down to the root of the problem. I've simply put a Band-Aid on the issue that they're talking to me about, and not really finding out that here's where our issue lies. And so I really try to dive down deeper into each time I'm talking with someone to make sure that if our foundation's correct, if our nutrition and digestion is good, wonderful. Now let's talk about movement and metabolism. What are the things you're consuming? How well is your metabolism going? How often are you getting up and moving? And now we have these wonderful devices, right, that we can wear on our wrist or we can have on our phone that tell us how well we're doing at those things. And then we can move on up to our rest and manage stress and look at, all right, am I doing those things? Am I managing my stress well? And it's not eliminating stress, because we have lives that are stressful, right? I remember a patient one time, she came in and we realized that her biggest issue was managing stress. And I mistakenly told her, well, we just need to get rid of stress in your life. And she said, Dr. Riggs, I have 9 children. I went,
Wow.
well, I guess we're not getting rid of those. So maybe we need to figure out how to manage them, right? So we've got to figure out how to make sure we're getting our rest and we're managing our stress. And then once we have that under control, we move to the next thing, which is reducing toxicity in our lives. And that may be looking at the things that we're using in our home. Those even devices within our home can be toxic to our system. And making sure that all of that is under control. Once we get there, that's all the lifestyle part of the wellness chart. Then we can move up to the next section, which is really informed self-care. What are those things I can do for myself when there are challenges, when there are issues within my home, where I don't need to go access outside resources? I can actually just simply look at what are the things I can do for myself. And we all have those things, right? If I have a little bit of a scratch in my throat, I might make myself some wonderful tea to help soothe that, right? That's informed self-care. Simple example. And then lastly, it's proactive healthcare, which is where we do access others outside of ourselves, saying, look, can you help me assess really how I'm doing from a health perspective? And can you help me see down the road a little bit of those things that might be coming, that I might make small tweaks now to avoid bigger problems later? That's really proactive healthcare.
So how can we become better educated individuals and be so in tune with our body to know where to start, which step of the wellness chart to assess? Because we all have to start somewhere, and the way how we structure the wellness chart is made to help us navigate the world of supplements. So how can one become better in tune with this side of us?
Yeah, I think, again, great question, Ludo. It really, I'm amazed. There are individuals out there, we've all met them, that are so in tune with their body that they know when something is off, even just a little bit. And I am just so very impressed by those folks. I haven't always been that way. I think of the chaos that was going on in my life during medical school and how hard that was, constantly being in class, constantly studying. I had very little time to tune into my body. It was really once I got into a regular pace of life, getting up, going to work every day, family life, having time in the evening with the family, et cetera, that those things begin to come to the top of my mindfulness of where am I? And so the first principle we probably ought to do is take time to listen,
I
right?
love this.
Sit down for moments every day and listen to your body. Learn to get in tune with it. How am I feeling from an energy level? How am I feeling from a fatigue level? How am I feeling I call it a body scan. I teach meditation. And one of the things that we do is call a body scan, which is just assessing from the top of your body down. Okay, how's my head feeling? Do I feel relaxed? Do I have any tension in the head? How's my neck feeling? Right? Do I need to move a little bit more and stretch
Mm-hmm.
that? How are the shoulders feeling? And drop those, right? And just going on down the body and assessing and listening to my system, because it will tell us if we'll just take a few moments to listen. And that means removing some of the chaos of life and spending the time to listen to that. Once we do that, I think the body is really good about telling us what we need. And as I said, we start with that foundation of nutrition and digestion. And so spending the time to say, okay, let me think about this. How good is my diet? What are the things that I'm consuming that I know are good for me? Because we need to pay attention to the positive as
Mm-hmm.
well. And what are the things that I'm consuming that I know are causing damage to the system? Now, as I mentioned earlier, on occasion, you can have a gelato and it won't derail the system, right? That's
Of course.
that's okay. You're spending time socially with friends, or there's a celebration of a birthday or something like that. Every day is a problem, right? And so assessing, what are the things I'm doing that are good for me? What are the things that I'm doing that are not good for me? And what changes am I going to make in the coming 30 days to make things better for my system?
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with digestion. How well am I doing at digesting the foods I'm consuming?
Yeah.
And those things that I'm not digesting well, are there concerns with that? And then adding to that, as we mentioned before, no matter how healthy the diet is, no matter how well we're doing, we simply have to supplement. And so it's a great time to assess, well, where am I in my lifestyle? Am I a let's start at one a day person and work up from there? Or am I I can probably, because I'm have a healthy lifestyle, jump all in with my full dose of LLV every day and take those supplements every day. It's just kind of a good place to start. So you got to listen, make changes, number 2. And then number 3 is absolutely add your supplements in every day.
I love it. And then obviously we have created this supplement guide to help people navigate their lifestyle, their challenges, their issues. And I hope that this tool will educate and empower people to know they can jump through chapters and they can pick what is relevant at that specific moment when they are sitting down with themselves and maybe taking that scan and say, okay, for the next 3 months, I need to focus on my nutrition and digestion first, and then I can move up or tackle something else.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Yeah, and I appreciate that, Ludo, because if you think, well, I want to start with, again, we've kind of been hammering on rest and manage stress. I want to start with rest and manage stress, but if we know our nutrition and digestion isn't working, my recommendation is we should start there at the foundation. Don't jump up the wellness chart to a section that you're like, oh, well, this is something I can work on pretty easily if you don't have this under control. Start here. Start at the foundation, because just like a house, right? I used to do construction, and so I know a bit about building things. And if you build the most beautiful house in the world, but it is not on a solid foundation, very shortly that house is going to come down, because it has to have something to rest on. It has to have something to build walls and roof and all of those beautiful parts of the house. It has to have that foundation. If your foundation isn't any good, starting to build up higher is going to be a problem.
and it won't work, and I'm guessing it won't last long because people might not be feeling or seeing the results they wish. Is that correct?
Yep. Yes. Or they'll feel it in the short term. They'll get short gains from it, but eventually it will stop working because they haven't really addressed the underlying issue of nutrition.
So another question that I have in mind is how to take supplement together to maybe maximize absorption, but also just generally how to take supplements together. We know that, for example, vitamin C is enhancing iron absorption. I know it because I am iron deficient, so I've learned that the hard way. Is there anything that we should keep in mind when taking supplements together?
Yeah, so it's a great question. There are nutrients that are required for enhanced absorption. So when you use the example of vitamin C and iron. We need that vitamin C to make sure that we're absorbing our iron from both our food and from the supplements that we're using. Another good example of that is we need vitamin D to absorb our calcium, to make sure our bones stay healthy and strong, as well as magnesium. So vitamin D, calcium, vitamin K, and magnesium all need to be together so that we're making sure we're absorbing all of those nutrients and maximizing those. And so we've really taken a look at all of the science, and doTERRA is very much a science company, and realized or recognized that does require these cofactors for absorption, and we've done the things to make sure that we're absorbing them. The other thing that I really love about our vitamins and minerals is that we've chelated our minerals. Chelation is a very important concept because we don't absorb minerals very well at all. Most minerals come from dirt and rocks, right? And so if I were to say, Ludo, all you need to do every day is go out and just a teaspoon of dirt every day, just take it in. How do you think your GI tract would react to that?
Probably not very happy.
Yeah, not very happy, because you're going to have a hard time absorbing those minerals from the dirt and rocks, right? And so we've taken those minerals out, we've packaged them, and then what we've done is we have chelated them, which means they have been bound to organic compounds, which our body does absorb very well. It recognizes those organic compounds and says, oh, we know what that is and we know what to do with it. So therefore, we get those chelated minerals into the system and they're absorbed very well through that little process. And then the other thing that we've done is we've done something called a glycoprotein matrix. Let me go back to the concept of chelation. I grew up watching fun movies. The story that I use is Mary Poppins. Do you remember the movie Mary Poppins?
I do, yeah.
Right? So
Yes.
we were all kind of raised on this magical idea of the nanny Mary Poppins. And she's in the nursery with Jane and Michael Banks, and she's singing the song, "A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down." Now, I love that song because it was teaching a principle of, and she even says it in the song, with every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. Find the fun and snap, the job's a game. Which means, look, there are things that we don't want to do in life. But if we look for the fun aspects of those, or the more enjoyable aspects of those, then we can get the job done and it's not so hard. The same principle is true of minerals. Our body doesn't absorb minerals very well. It needs a little bit of a boost. And so our body does enjoy organic things. And so binding those minerals that the body doesn't really react well to, but needs, to something that is organic, now all of a sudden we absorb those very well. That's the spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. We're able to get the things that are good for us in. And then we move on to that glycoprotein matrix, which is also some minerals that we get from food sources, right? And vitamins. We actually use those and we put them in some yeast, some baker's yeast. The yeast absorb those nutrients. Then we freeze dry the yeast and we're able to get a higher density of those nutrients in this glycoprotein matrix that the yeast has made, and we absorb those much better. And so absorption, we've done a couple of things there to make sure that our absorption of those are fantastic for us. So I really appreciate the fact that doTERRA follows the science very well. We make sure that we're using the latest technology in getting those nutrients to the cells where they need to be, and we're absorbing them much better through those. And we've done that with really every supplement that you can think of. We've figured out how to optimize that absorption of it.
Another thing I think comes up quite often is, when is the best time to take a supplement, right? Is it the morning? Should I be on an empty stomach? Should I be eating fast? Should I be eating this and that to complement my supplement routine?
Yeah.
So could we talk about that, please?
So let me just tell you my cheeky answer for that one, okay? The best time to take a supplement is when you remember to take it.
And it's fair game.
Right. Let's not sacrifice better for good, right? Meaning we should, let's not sacrifice good for better. meaning that we should just say, okay, if I remember to take it right now, that's the best time to take it. Now, optimizing it, we absorb things better when we take it with food, and we absorb things better when we take it with a little bit of healthy fats. So if you think about eating an avocado, like an avocado toast for breakfast and taking your
Mhm.
morning dose, then that would be fine. Now, my own personal lifestyle, the things that I've chosen to do, I do intermittent fasting. So I'm not a breakfast eater. I don't eat breakfast in the morning. Um, and so but if I don't take my morning dose of supplements, I'm going to forget later in the day. So I take my morning dose on an empty stomach, just because for me, that fits in my lifestyle. Now, a little trick I've learned over time, because I was always forgetting that afternoon dose, I put my afternoon dose in my left pocket, and I carry that around with me all day. So that if it's lunchtime or midday or dinner time, it's with me. When I remember, it's with me. It's not, oh, yeah, when I get home, I need to grab
Yeah,
my afternoon dose of my supplements. It's just whenever it occurs to me, it's already here. I
it's
pull it out
there.
of my pocket and I take it. So, yes, optimally, you take it with food, but just take it. That's the better thing, is make sure that you're just taking it every day, that twice a day dosing. And I know some that are like, well, Dr. Riggs, I can't take it a second time. Well, then take all of them at one time. If that's all you can do,
Mhm.
I would rather have all of them taken at one time than
Yeah.
not taking any at all.
That is a perfect answer. Sometimes we get a bit stuck on the how and when, but really the fact that we're taking supplements and we're taking care of our body is a good starting point. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate your answer.
sure.
Keeping it real also. So, Brannick, can I get a little bit more specific in talking about maybe your routine? So, can I ask you a few questions about, but
Sure.
still the word of supplements, obviously.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
what are your top three supplements and how would you personally take them?
Sure. So here's the thing that I take every single day.
Hmm.
This is not negotiable for me. Like I am probably 99% uh, routine on this. I hit this almost every single day. So it is my LLV, which consists of our Microplex VMZ, our XE Omega, and our Alpha CRS.
Hmm.
So those are every single day. I take MetaPower Advantage every single day.
Yeah,
You might have noticed I'm slightly over the age of 25, which means that I am aging. And
I love
MetaPower
it. I
Advantage.
would have said 24. So, thank you for
See, well,
confirming.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. So MetaPower Advantage for anybody over the age of 25. So that's for me. And I actually take 2 sachets a day of MetaPower Advantage. I also take PB Assist every single day, or now PB Restore,
Hmm.
just because there's so many things that can disrupt the microbiome. Even eating a fast food meal, or not sleeping well one night, or even a bad attitude or negative emotions affects our
Wow.
microbiome. I mean, just small things like that. And so therefore, to take a probiotic every single day that I know will help support my microbiome, not just of my GI tract, but my oral microbiome, my skin microbiome, et cetera, that supplement every single day is a non-negotiable for me. And then from there, I kind of pick and choose based on what I'm doing. Most days, I do a MetaPower Recharge, which is our
Hmm.
electrolytes drink. And I do that because I know the data on some of the electrolytes and know that most of us walk around dehydrated every day. And so I just do that every single morning. So I actually add my recharge with my 2 MetaPower Advantages that I take every single day. Mix them up together. It makes a wonderful drink, and I'm ready to go. And then, as I said, from there, then I pick and choose our other supplements based on individual need, what's going on that day, what's been happening in my life. I may choose adaptive. I may choose turmeric. I may choose deep blue polyphenols. Copaiba soft gels. That list goes on and on and on based upon what's happening. I was recently backpacking in the mountains with a bunch of young people. We did 11 miles in one day, and I enjoyed my Copaiba and my deep blue polyphenols
Oh, I
for the
bet.
next couple of days. So, yeah. So just choosing based on what your lifestyle is really that great option of then looking at, all right, what else do I add to help support the activities that I'm doing?
I love that. I also feel like sometimes the supplements that we take are specific to the person that we are. So obviously, our age, our genes, our sex, our activity level plays a huge role, and we're not all equal. So we're different, and the supplements that we take, how we take them might be different, and also we change, we evolve in time. So and the beauty of it is that we can adapt, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for instance, as I mentioned before, an individual that's 20 years old really doesn't have a strong need for MetaPower Advantage. Now, they may want to use our MetaPower Assist product, right? Because maybe they're dealing with a metabolism issue and not an aging issue, because biologically, we really don't start aging until 25. And so for that individual, they may say, well, I need MetaPower Assist. For women more than men, they may want to use bone nutrient every day because genetically, based upon gender, they're at higher risk for having challenges with bones as they age more than men are. So therefore, taking bone nutrient every day can be extremely helpful for those individuals. So just kind of knowing who we are, where we are, and the issues that we're dealing with. Someone that may have a very hectic lifestyle, very fast-paced, may want to be on our adaptive every single day to help them deal with some of those feelings and some of those issues that they may have challenges with. Somebody that has a very physically difficult job, where they're doing hard labor every day, may want to be saying, well, for me, every day, I need to be on deep blue polyphenols or turmeric every day, or, our copaiba soft gels every day, to make sure that I'm supporting a system for the physical job that I do. So knowing what each does and the lifestyle that I live, then I can know which ones I should be grabbing for to supplement my foundation that we've already talked about.
Yeah, beautiful. Like a second ago, you mentioned MetaPower Assist, and that triggered my next question. You probably already know where I'm going with this. But I keep receiving a lot of questions of, are there supplements that interact with each other? And do we have a rule of, supplements that are best to be taken together and some that are best to be taken separately?
Right. So here's the deal. Let me just tell you, this is a testament to me that doTERRA is a science-based company, okay? When MetaPower Assist first came out, and remember, MetaPower Assist has in it mulberry extract, which has a compound in it called DNJ. Now, DNJ inhibits a digestive enzyme in our GI tract, in which that digestive enzyme breaks down carbohydrates. So if DNJ binds to that enzyme, then all of a sudden we're not breaking down carbohydrates and they pass through the system better, and therefore we keep better control of our blood sugar, okay? Now, people would say, well, Dr. Riggs, if I take Terrazyme, which is digestive enzymes, and I take my MetaPower Assist, wouldn't that cancel each other out? And we said, absolutely, yes, it probably does. Just scientifically thinking about the principles here, those two together would cancel each other out. But we said, you know what? And we're going to do a study to show what happens there, okay? So we did a small pilot study.
Oh, wow.
And we found that taking them together actually enhances the power of MetaPower Assist. It does not diminish it. And so now we have to, and everyone that's on the research team, right? We all took a look at the data and said, can we explain this? No. It doesn't make any sense scientifically, but observationally what we found is when you take Terrazyme and MetaPower Assist together, you have better control of your blood sugars, not worse. And so we're now telling people you can take those two together. It's actually probably better to take those two together than taking them separately. Now, we hope at some point to be able to figure out why exactly that's happening. That's more for us that are on the science side of, wow, what are we learning here from this? Because we don't understand it, but we're willing to tell you we were wrong in what we told you at first. And science has shown that. And so therefore, we're now quite comfortable saying you can take those supplements together, no problem. It wouldn't be an issue. I really don't know of other supplements that you can't take together. You can take many supplements together, keeping in mind the GI tract.
Yeah.
If we overload the system, that might not be a good thing. And so think about like Microplex VMZ and our XC Omegas and our bone nutrient all have vitamin D in them. And so therefore, maybe all three of those at the same time. So if someone were to ask me, well, you could take them all at the same time, but if you're having some issues with that, maybe take your bone nutrient at a different time than you're taking your VMZ and your XC Omegas, just so that you get better absorption of that vitamin D as you deal with that. But there are some cautions with certain type of medications and supplements. So for instance, if you're on a blood thinner, you probably shouldn't be taking turmeric duo caps very often. Turmeric can actually thin the blood a little bit. And if you're already having a medicine that's doing that, just be aware that turmeric may make that blood too thin. It may put you in a little bit of a tough predicament. So there are other things you might choose, deep blue polyphenols, copaiba soft gels that don't have that blood thinning effect. But for instance, turmeric and blood thinner is probably not a wise decision to take together.
Thank you. I feel like our viewers and listeners would be mind blown, to say the least, to realize that actually they can take Metapower Assist and TerraZyme together, because I promise you, Brannick, this has been the most received question of the year, at least.
Yeah, I get asked that very, very frequently. And to be honest with you, I like it when our science proves something new. Mm-hmm. And that, despite not making sense to us scientifically, if we're seeing it, we're going to tell you and be very upfront with you, we were wrong. I don't have, I'm not worried about saying I was wrong. I've been wrong lots of times before. I'm going to be wrong in the future. We all do the best we can. And I'm happy to tell you when we find out something that we weren't sure about, and then let you know, yep, we were incorrect on that. And to me, it is a testament to the company that we're with, which is we're always looking at the science. We're always interested in data to prove or to show what we think is happening, and constantly looking at the science to determine, do we need to update products? Are we learning something new about a product that we should now incorporate into that product? Mm-hmm. Or are we learning something new about an ingredient that we should be getting rid of because the science is now showing this particular ingredient causes problems? And then we're happy to update that product. Now, the challenge is 50% of our audience is thrilled when we update a product. And 50% of the audience is so mad they just want to beat us up in a dark alley, right? But please know, we don't take product updates lightly. We really do try to follow our science and those things that are coming out in the scientific literature to really make sure that we're on the cutting edge of the technology of vitamins, minerals, mm-hmm. supplements, and that we make those product changes not lightly. We really take a look at them. And once there's enough science to either remove ingredients or to change the technology of it, we're going to update that product. And we hope that as you adapt and get over that change, I know there's a little bit of shock with change, and other people are better with change and other people not so great with change.
No, everyone loves change. Okay, but it's part of the human nature.
Correct. It's inevitable, right? Change is inevitable. Yes. And so therefore, when we get an updated product, we hope that you'll receive that, recognize that we're really trying to follow the cutting edge of science and get you the best product that we can with what we have. And so it's a beautiful thing when we change products. It's really, as I said, either eliminating something that new science is coming out saying we should not be having that, or it's adding some things that need to be added that science is saying now is very important for us.
Another question that comes up quite often is, about safety use of essential oils. And the question is, how many supplements can I safely take without exceeding the the threshold for internal use if I'm also maybe diffusing oils or taking oils in any other way?
Yeah. It's a good question. There are challenges with that question. I'll be honest with you. Science has not yet figured out how to answer that question. I'll give you the example from the medical world. We know with a large amount of confidence how a medication interacts with the human body. We're quite comfortable with saying, if you're taking this particular thing, we know how it acts in the body.
Yeah.
We know fairly well how two different medications interact in the body, because now you have how this one's working in the body, how this one's working in the body, and now you have the complication of figuring out what are the interactions they're having on each other in the human body. We're okay with understanding that. Once you get beyond two of anything, we don't really have the science to understand how all of those things are interacting in the body. If you add a third medication to that, and many of our older generation are taking multiple medications, and we have no idea, zero insight into how all those things are working together. Now we do it. Doctors prescribe those medications all the time in numerous amounts to patients because they're addressing issues that really can't be addressed, or they don't know of a way to address them in another way. And so thankfully they're there and can be helpful for individuals. Now, when it comes to our supplements, now let's turn away from traditional Western medicine and turn to our supplements. When we're talking about our supplements, we know fairly well how a couple of supplements do in the body. Once you add essential oils to that mix, let's say that I am putting deep blue on my knee every single day. We know that's absorbed through the skin. It gets into my system. But we don't have a way to measure scientifically what's happening with my XE-omega, my alpha CRS, my VMZ, and that amount of deep blue that gets absorbed in the bloodstream to see what is that interaction like. We just don't have the technology. Science has not gotten good enough. So let me teach a principle about this, because I do know people that say, well, I'm taking all the things, right?
Yeah.
They'll come up to me and say, Dr. Riggs, I'm taking all the stuff that doTERRA makes. And you go, well, tell me why. And they say, well, because doTERRA makes it. And so my thought is, just because doTERRA makes it doesn't mean you have to take it.
I absolutely love this quote of yours, Dr. Brannick Riggs. I love it.
So the issue is this: start with your foundation, right? I don't know of a single person that doesn't need LLV. Take it every single day. If you're over the age of 25, take your MetaPower Advantage every single day. If you, and everyone from kids on up should be taking a probiotic every day. PB Restore, PB Assist, right? Those things are foundational. Beyond that, choose the things that you need to address, like we talked earlier, what your particular lifestyle is. As I said, if you have a physically demanding job, choose the things that are going to support you continuing to do that physically demanding job, right? Choose your Copaiba soft gels, choose your deep blue polyphenols, choose your turmeric duo caps that support the system due to the physical demands you're placing on your body. If you're a woman and you're middle-aged and childbearing age, then you may want to choose the bone nutrient to make sure you're supporting bone, a healthy bone life throughout your life. If you are, as an example, dealing with hormonal issues, or you're saying, look, I really want to support a regular hormonal cycle, then you may need to choose our phytoestrogens as an example, because you're addressing some of those concerns that you have and saying, I need more hormonal support and my phytoestrogens are going to be great. But if you're a female and you have a system that's working perfectly, right? You're having normal cycles, there's no issues with it, you're doing great, then you probably don't need phytoestrogen, just because your system is already making the estrogens it needs. It's doing healthy. You don't have a whole lot of exogenous or external estrogens getting into the system, you can actually, just based on the system that you already have, you're producing those naturally. So make sure that you're choosing your supplements based on you yourself. It goes back to the principle that we talked about, Ludo, is listen.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. And if you tune in, if you take a few moments every day to just listen to your body will tell you what it needs. I have a belief that we've been given this amazing physical body, right? This is a very complicated machine that we're just beginning to scratch the surface in understanding. But with that physical body, we've been given the opportunity to listen to it as well. There is a voice inside of us that will tell us what we should be doing if we'll simply take quiet moments to listen to it and figure out, all right, here's what I need right now. And then we can pick and choose from these amazing supplements we've been given. I'll tell you, in probably any given month, I'm using all of our supplements, but just not all at the same time. I'm using this one or that one or this one on any given day based upon what's going on in my life and what I'm doing. Because, say, for instance, Saturdays, like when I'm here in the office, I'm going to meetings and I'm sitting in behind desks and I'm being on Zoom calls and all of those things. That's a very different day than Saturdays when I'm working in our orchard, working in our garden, mowing the lawn. Those are much more physically demanding days in which I'm going to need very different supplements than I will with a day in the office, right?
I love everything that you said, and that quote, I wish we could just print it everywhere and just have it on the wall. I think it's a testament to the company, again, to show that, there are companies out there that just want to push products out. And we say, no, listen to your body, start to educate yourself and really learn how we function to make better choices. And not just taking 100 supplements in one go. So,
for instance. Yeah, I love that. And to be honest with you, if I could, and I appreciate, I guess from a business perspective, I appreciate those that are out there taking everything we make. But if I could take a magic wand and sacrifice that mindset for the mindset of foundational wellness and say, look, what I want everyone to be doing, every single person that's listening to this, is to take your LLV every day, take your MetaPower Advantage every day, take your PB Restore every day. Those things are more important than taking everything all the time. We actually have less need for all the other things, right? Because these are supporting our cells. And if these things are supporting our cells, then I don't need those other things nearly as often as I used to.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And another key word that you just used is consistency. Sometimes I feel like people would like to have that magic wand that you mentioned and just seeing results this quick. And the truth is that that is not possible. So I guess my question is, how long can we expect or how long do we need to allocate before we can start seeing a result or before we can start feeling any difference in our body?
It's a great question. Great question. I would say once you're on the maximum dose of LLV, right? The 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening of everything, give that 30 days, okay? You may not feel it. If you're starting at that 1 a day, you may not feel it in that first 2 weeks because you're just taking 1 a day. It's a very small amount. But once you're on the full dose and you're taking that every day, within 30 days, you should feel different. Now, I often also hear from our long-term wellness advocates that have been taking LLV for years and years and years. And they say, Dr. Riggs, I just don't feel any different on LLV anymore. And you know what I tell them, Ludo?
What do you tell them?
I say, great, stop taking it.
Okay.
And they're like, what?
Wow.
I say, yeah, stop taking it. And they say, why? I said, because you've forgotten what you felt like before. Your new norm is feeling good. When you feel good every single day, it's not like you're like, oh yeah, I remember 8 years ago when I wasn't feeling good every day, right?
Yeah.
So when you're feeling great every day, that's the norm, right? I'm just used to feeling this good all the time. And so therefore, I don't feel this anymore. I just feel this. Say, great,
It just
stop taking
become
it.
the norms, right?
Correct. And so if you stop taking it, every single one has come back to me that's done this. Now, not everybody does it, but every single one that's done this have said, within a week or two, I remembered why I was taking LLV. I wasn't feeling good anymore. And I remembered how I used to feel. And now I'm back on it because I feel so much better on it than off of it. Yeah, sometimes we have to be reminded, here's where we were, and now we're here, right? But once that becomes the new norm and we forget what it felt like to be here, maybe a little reminder every once in a while, right? Like, oh yeah, I used to not take this and this is how I felt. So
I love it. It's a nice test that we can all try every now and then.
yeah. Although for me, maybe just because I get the opportunity to talk to so many amazing wellness advocates and people out there, for me, I don't need to do that because I have lots of people that have already done that test for me and have come back and said, oh, I remember I didn't feel good. So when I get the thought in my head, boy, am I really feeling much better on this? I can go back to their experience and go, oh yeah, if I stop taking this, I know how I'll feel because they've done that experiment and I don't need to do that. I just stay on it and I'm very, very religious about it. So
it's beautiful. Learning from somebody else's experience sounds pretty good.
Yes.
And this brings me to another point, and another question for you. Are there any moments in our life where we should maybe consider stopping the supplements or pausing for a short moment in time?
Yeah, I've heard this theory of perhaps if we stop taking it for a period of time, then we'll better absorb it when we take it again. I would say I don't have any science to back that up. I'm not aware of any literature that says a pause in taking supplements makes it better for us later on. And so I'm actually not a fan of that. Now, there are times in which we may want to decrease our supplement. So for instance, my father is 83 years old today. Today is his birthday. He and I were talking on the phone this morning and having a conversation of at 83, perhaps you don't need the full dose of what you're taking. He's taking his LLV every day. I want you to go down to 3 pills a day. Because as we age, our lives are getting a little bit less vigorous. We're doing less things, et cetera. And so therefore, he probably could deal with a little bit less. For instance, also my children. So we have 5 children, 2 of which are still at home. The 2 youngest, our youngest is a 10-year-old girl, and then we have a 12-year-old boy. They don't take the full dose of LLV. They take a half dose of LLV every day. And so as they get a little bit older, as Canyon, our 12-year-old, gets to be about 14, 15 years old, he'll take 3 pills of everything every day. And then as he hits about 18 or 19, he'll go on the full dose. So we can, as long as our children can take pills, we may want to kind of taper them up based upon their particular age and how big they are. And then, of course, for individuals that are even adults, let's say, for instance, that we have an adult that is very slight and petite. I know adults that are like this tall and very, very thin. They probably don't need the full dose of LLV. They're probably fine at 2 or 3 a day, depending upon their size. This is really based upon, our recommendations are based upon the typical adult male and female. So somewhere between 150 and 200 pounds. So if you've got an adult that only weighs 100 pounds, because their genetics are they're very slight as an individual, then you probably don't need the full adult dose.
And you must have read my mind because my next question was going to be about children. So yeah, mind connection.
And that's all about really whether they can swallow pills or not. If they can swallow pills, of course they can be on LLV. If they can't, then you may want to go to some liquid vitamins or something that they can chew, right? A chewable vitamin for them. They still need vitamins though. We tend to think, well, just adults need those cofactors, but the fact is, probably more importantly, as children are developing, to get them the cofactors like the healthy fats for brain development,
Absolutely.
The healthy minerals and vitamins for cellular development. They're still developing and growing organs. And so it's probably more important for them even to have good supplementation. And so let's not leave them out of those great benefits that they can have of having good, healthy omega-3s and our vitamins, minerals, et cetera, for them to grow up to be healthy and strong.
Are those the supplements that you would recommend our audience should give to their kids? And is this what you are suggesting or nudging your kids towards?
Yeah, yes, for sure. So a chewable vitamin in the morning when they were younger, that's what we did. And we did liquid omega fatty acids every day. So they had their vitamins, minerals, and omega fatty acids every day when they were younger. Now that they're able to swallow pills at 10 and 12, I've simply moved them to the LLV where they've started to transition to that and take that every single day. And so, yes, for sure, that's very important.
I know we talked about safety, but are there any particular phases in life where somebody should not take supplements or should completely stop? What do you think?
Yeah. So typically what we find is that with individuals that are so for instance, if they're undergoing surgery, stopping, if they're taking turmeric duo caps, because again, I mentioned that it does thin the blood a little bit, stopping those turmeric duo caps about 5 to 7 days before the surgery would be helpful. It's not absolutely necessary. If we go into an emergent surgery and we have those on board, it's going to make the surgery a little bit more difficult, and the surgeon's going to have to deal with that. So it's not a game stopper, but when given the choice, if we're having an elective surgery, being aware, stopping those 5 to 7 days before the surgery would be wise. Probably stopping our LLV a few days before the surgery would be wise as well. And so just kind of knowing those things. Other than that, like for instance, when you think about pregnancy, I get the question quite commonly, okay, Dr. Riggs, I'm pregnant. Do I have to stop taking this? No. Actually, now you have another person on board that needs those minerals as well. Remember, we talked about the importance of developing organs and how much they rely on our healthy fats and our vitamins and minerals to develop those. Now you're growing a person in you. And so therefore, it's even more important that you're taking your LLV. As a matter of fact, for a lot of individuals, I'll recommend they take a dose and a half of our LLV during pregnancy, because that baby amazingly will take from mom what it needs. That's its job, is to say, look, I need this. We know that's what children do. They take what they need, right? And our job as parents is to give them what they need. Not always what they want, but what they need, right? And so, for instance, that when that baby is taking everything that it needs from mom, mom can sometimes be left after the pregnancy with pretty significant challenges due to the fact the baby has stripped some of those nutrients from her. And so making sure that she's supplying enough nutrients, not only for herself, but for that developing person in her, can be extremely helpful for her to be taking that LLV during pregnancy at that time.
Perfect, thank you. And is it correct, is it safe to say that when in doubt, obviously we always encourage people to speak with their GP, their health professional, the doctors, if they need extra guidance?
Absolutely, yes. Your physician should know. And I always recommend, when talking to your physician about these things, saying, look, doctor, I'm taking these things and I just want to make sure that this is okay with what we're doing. Sometimes doctors push back simply because they don't know. They just don't know much about that. When they say, oh, stop taking that, my recommendation for you as a patient is to say, can you help me understand why? Push a little bit harder, because sometimes doctors will have enough training to say, here's why. Here's what my concern is. This, and this can cause problems with this. And so therefore, I need you to stop taking this for whatever period of time. But if they don't know, if they don't have any training or education, they may simply be saying that just out of fear. Just stop taking this. Well, why? Because I don't know anything about it. Well, that's not really a good reason. What I need to know is, please, can you help me understand the reason? This is my health. I'm the patient. I'm dealing with the challenges that I'm seeking your advice on. as a physician, so please educate me as to why you're recommending that I don't do these things. And that puts it back on the physician or GP to come up with the reasons and educate them and help people understand the science of here's why I'm concerned about this. And that's okay. I think that's wonderful when they can come back with an answer for us. But when they just say stop,
Yeah.
often it's because of fear and they don't really have any understanding of what this is doing.
And all of this goes back to education, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah, this is why I'm so passionate about what I do here at doTERRA, is when I can help physicians understand, when I can help individuals understand the value of what we have here and really help them understand why we're recommending what we recommend. Now, all of a sudden, when I understand the why as an individual, I'm more likely to do what I've been asked to do. When someone just simply says, go and do this,
right.
and I don't understand the underlying reason why or what the expectation is or what's going to happen, I'm really not likely to do it when I'm just told to do this thing. But when I understand the why, when a physician can sit down and help us understand why he's recommending whatever it is he's recommending, our compliance to that thing goes way up, because now all of a sudden I'm invested and understand here, I get what the goal is, I understand what I'm trying to do and what my physician is trying to help me accomplish with this thing that he's asked.
You couldn't have said it better, Brannick, so thank you. And this is exactly why I wanted to have this webinar with you, to welcome people in the supplement guide and hopefully have these, well, two tools, the physical guide, the ebook, the PDF, and also us forever, living on forever with this webinar that people can go back and refer to whenever they're in doubt, and they might need to re-listen because we have unpacked quite a bit and hopefully we'll have more in the future, who knows.
Yes.
But before we close, any last words of wisdom, golden nuggets, something that we should keep in our minds forever?
I'd like to just hit, we've talked a lot about vitamins and minerals here. I want to talk for just a second about omega fatty acids. We sometimes overlook those, and I think vitamins and minerals gets all the press, whereas omega fatty acids we don't really talk about those. Omega fatty acids are so important for us, and I want to kind of help us understand why, and maybe some uniqueness of our omega fatty acids that may help us understand, again, that reason why I should be taking them. Omega fatty acids, particularly omega-3s, are so helpful for our system. There's omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-9s. Now, those fatty acids are long chains, of fatty acids. But the reason that omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-9s are so important is because those chains of fatty acids don't just look like this. They don't just fall in a line here in which they can stack on top of each other really well. I think about egg cartons. We have chickens, so I think about kind of simple things. If you put egg cartons on top of each other, they just stack right on top of each other, and then you try to twist that egg carton, it's not very pliable. It doesn't move very well. But omega fatty acids, 3, 6s, and 9s, they don't stack because they have these double bonds. And now all of a sudden, when you put things that don't stack very well on top of each other, now all of a sudden they move very easily, right? Think about putting eggs in the egg cartons and then stacking them on top of each other. Now they're bendable. Our cells are made of fatty acids. The cell walls are.
Yeah.
We need those cells to be really pliable and be able to move very fluidly, and they work better that way. And so therefore, making sure that we're having omega-3s, omega-6s, and omega-9s in our diet is very helpful for us. And so having things like cold water fish, et cetera, helpful for our diet. But also, and avocados, I mentioned earlier, great source of healthy fats. But also making sure that we're supplementing with a good omega fatty acid supplement is extremely helpful. And here's the uniqueness of our omega fatty acids. We have a carotenoid blend in ours. Carotenoids are those things like lycopene, lutein, astaxanthin, and zeaxanthin, which all play a significant role in our body, very helpful for us. And so therefore, it's really a beautiful combination of having our omega fatty acids and our carotenoid blend in our LLV or in our XE omega, so helpful for the human body. Again, something I take every single day. I actually take a dose and a half. I take 6 tablets a day of that one, 6 capsules a day, because I've read the literature, so helpful for us. And so I don't want to have those kind of take a back shelf to the other things we've talked about, because they too play an important role in our bodies. And we need to make sure that we're having those both as part of our diet as well as supplementation to make sure that we're healthy and can have a long and healthy life. So that's the last thing I want to leave you with.
Dr. Riggs, thank you so much for being here with us today, for welcoming people to this very vast and at times confusing word. I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge as every time I'm speaking with you. So I hope that this is what we created today is truly a unique resource for our audience and our members that they can keep on using and using endless time. So again, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And maybe next time we can have a meditation session together.
That sounds great. Thank you, Ludo. I appreciate it. Been a pleasure to be with you today.